today. Thanks so much for joining us tonight. We have a great program ahead of us tonight. This event is being put on by the Women in Cleantech and Sustainability Career Development Committee and our wonderful volunteers, and we're so grateful to have a handful of past mentors and mentees on as well to share their experiences with all of you. So thank you for being here. We'll go ahead and get started. I know folks are probably still filtering in for the next minute or two, but we want to take a moment to get to know all of you a little bit better. So one of the things we try to do at WCS is to get an active Zoom chat going. So feel free to pop your answers to these quick icebreaker questions right in the chat so we can all see. First up, temp check. How are you feeling? How are you showing up today? Personally, I'm around like a 50 or 60% because I got my COVID booster shot yesterday and it has totally knocked me down, but we're doing our best. We'd also love to know if you're joining us today as a prospective mentee or mentor, so we can maybe tailor the questions a little bit better to you. Also curious, what's one thing you're eager to learn today, and what's one word you'd choose to describe how you want to leave the event tonight? And then just to keep it light, what are you thinking for dinner? I know we have a lot of folks from the West Coast, also a few from the East Coast and farther away, so maybe dinner's already in the books for today. Anyone want to get started in chat? Any takers? All right. No worries. Well, we'll move cereal for dinner. Okay, great. Thanks, Juliana. Oh, I see. Everyone was just typing and I'm moving too quickly. Sorry. Okay, great. Thanks for all the comments. Awesome. That's so great. Yeah, thank you for joining the conversation there. Encourage you to keep adding comments and questions there throughout the presentation tonight. Like I said before, the more interactive, the better. Great. So now that we're getting to know all of you, Joey, if you'll move to the next slide, I'll just share a little bit about WCS. We were founded about 11 years ago with the goal of positively impacting women in this growing space, sustainability and clean tech as an ecosystem. In that time, we've built some really incredible programs to serve that mission. Monthly events on all sorts of topics from, I don't know, battery technology to water rights to climate policy, everything in between. We also host an annual TED-style conference called WCS Talks that brings in experts from across the industry for a day-long event filled with speeches and networking. We just had WCS Talks last month, so I encourage you to keep an eye out for that next year. It's such a great event. And then finally, we also offer a mentorship program to help women level up and excel in clean tech and sustainability careers. And that's what we'll be telling you all about tonight. All right. I'll just take a moment here to remind everyone of our tips for Zoom etiquette and virtual networking. We've all been at this virtual thing for a little while now, so it should be all familiar. Most importantly, please be conscientious of your mute button, and also feel free to post your LinkedIn in the chat. Always great to facilitate some networking that way as well. And then for folks who are joining us as mentors or mentees from past cohorts, if you wouldn't mind adding a star at the beginning of your name in Zoom, that'll help us get organized if we decide to do breakout rooms towards the end. All right, here's what we have in store for you tonight. We're going to start off by telling you a bit about the mentorship program, how it's evolved over time, and what to expect for the next cohort, which will kick off in January. After that, we'll move into a Q&A session with past mentors and mentees who have very graciously volunteered their time tonight to share their experiences with you all. This is such a great opportunity, really, for you to hear firsthand from those participants. And if time allows and everyone's filling up for it, we can also move into breakout rooms for some more firsthand Q&A. But given that it's kind of a small group, maybe we'll all stay in the main room tonight. Finally, we'll wrap up with a quick brainstorming activity. This is the part where we'll really look to all of you in the audience tonight to help us shape the upcoming program and ensure it's designed to fit your needs as mentees and mentors. So start thinking of some ideas about what you'd really like to see included in the mentorship program if you're involved. All right, with that, I'm delighted to introduce you to Theo. She's going to guide us through tonight's program. Theo is one of our longtime dedicated volunteers on the Career Dev Committee. So grateful for her. She's done a really fantastic job pulling tonight's event together. So with that, over to you, Theo.
Thanks so much, Ellie. It's so great to be here. It definitely takes a village to get these events together, and I just want to honor Ellie and Vasuda, our two board members of the Career Development Committee, as well as our volunteers, Anka and Raphael, who recently came on here and just have dove into this work of just creating a program that is really meaningful to clean tech and sustainability professionals. So please reach out to them on LinkedIn. We're all here to support each other, and it's definitely an honor to work with all of you. And I just want to give a little history of the mentorship program. We've been around since 2017. So this is going to be our 7th cohort this year. But prior to COVID, we were all in person in San Francisco. And with COVID, we've become all virtual. So looking for feedback, during our brainstorming session, if you are interested in in-person events, we can try to put something together for the last event or even for next year. Our purpose as a group is to equip sustainability and clean tech professionals with the tools they need to succeed in this industry. Clean tech can be quite male dominated, and we really want to make sure that women and people of all types are really, represented in this community as we make these changes, towards a more cleaner industry. We are also all about catalyzing lasting relationships. So you may be selected to, work with a mentor or mentee, but a lot of these relationships last longer than just our 3-month program and continue to give back. So that's something else that we try to focus on as well. And I just wanted to give a little bit of an overview of the program before we dive into our panelist discussions. So there's a few additions this year, including this brainstorm event. So we're really actively asking for feedback and suggestions for this next cohort. So it offers mentors and mentees time to really help shape the program, like Ellie said. And then on the mentor side, we're offering access to the executive leadership events that Vasuda puts on. Definitely wave to her if you're interested in more, executive leadership training, how to be on a corporate board. She's your person. In terms of the overall structure of the program, it is 3 events that start right after we get back from winter break. We do a little bit of a kickoff session, and then we dive into 3 2-hour events every month. One event every month. And these events range from personal visioning and branding, so just aligning your personal values with your career goals, but also looking at negotiations. Julia Murphy is an amazing professional who has come back year after year to talk to us about negotiations and how she's negotiated business deals as well as job offers, which has been really helpful. And then the applications, we will talk later. Raphael will give a little bit of overview of our applications, but we are really focused on hearing and your interest as a mentor. So, ranking your skills, location, industry, and goals so that we can really help match you with the proper mentor and make sure it's a lasting relationship. And if you are interested, I would recommend blogging these on your calendar. And once you're accepted, then you can just have these ready so you're ready to go in the new year. And feel free as I go along, if you have any questions, feel free to pop them in the chat and I can just either answer them now or we can make sure they're answered after the session. Cool. So we are now going to go into a panelist discussion. I'm so grateful to have some past mentees and hopefully a mentor on the discussion tonight. Just basically getting the firsthand experience of what the mentorship program was like for them. A little bit of background on these four lovely women. Leah Goodman is a good friend and a business development and partnerships manager at OhmConnect. She was also a board member for WCS and a past management and sustainability consultant. She got her MBA from University of Oregon in sustainable business practices. And you can find her jumping around to different countries in Latin America, embracing the digital nomad lifestyle. We have Ellie Sharp-Reed. She is currently the certification director at Climate Neutral, a nonprofit tech startup working to decarbonize the corporate sector. She received her MBA from Sustainable Solutions at Presidio Graduate School, and you can find her in the outdoors skiing and fly fishing. She just told me that recently. We also have Maylis Reynaud. She is an experienced science diplomat and business developer and project manager. She also is a pole dancer and has started a recent organization called Pole Dance for the Planet, combining knowledge, connections, and climate change and environmental challenges with the arts. She also has a master's degree in chemistry and business law, and you can find her in the outdoors in Los Angeles. And Rekha Sharma, do we have you on the call tonight? Just want to see
I don't think she's
able to...
I don't think she's been able to join, Thea. I don't see her name yet.
Okay, cool. I thought maybe I was going to get her, but she's a busy woman. Maybe we can have, instead, if there is any mentors on the call that want to hear from that mentor perspective, can you please message me in the link in the chat, and I can see if I can connect you with her or anyone else just to hear that experience. But without further ado, I'd love to just start this conversation. We can just stop sharing for now and just look at all of our beautiful faces for a little bit. Let's see here. Leah, Ellie, Maylis, so great to have you today on this panel. Really grateful to have you here just discussing your experience on with the mentorship program. I would love to hear just, what it was like to be on with the mentorship program. What I would specifically like to know what challenges and experiences you were going through when you decided to come on to this mentorship program, and how your mentor helped you solve some of those. So whoever wants to start, feel free to jump right in.
Hi, I'll go ahead. I'm Maylis, so former science diplomat, which means that I moved to California from France a couple months before the pandemic, which obviously was not planned this way. So I joined WCS at the end of 2020, so a year later, and we're like all remote, and I really felt this need to find a community to chat about sustainability and cleantech. And at that moment, I heard about the mentorship program, and knowing that I was going to be off my diplomat work a year later, I think it was like a good timing to start thinking about what I wanted to do afterwards, while being still in California and discovering that job market and getting to know more of my peers in the state, and just being able to like feel that connection and have those meaningful conversations that I couldn't have access to during the pandemic, during this like remote work. And yeah, I think it really helped me at the time to find those people and feel excited again about what's going on in the space.
Yeah, I really like how you brought up the idea of community, and I forget the name of your mentor that you had during the program. Do you mind sharing that?
It's Esan Azegoma.
Oh, nice. That's
Yeah,
great.
and yeah, I didn't know if he was going to be on the call or not, but lots of things to say about how great he was.
Yeah, we can get to that. Ellie, I would love to hear from you.
Sure. Thanks, Theo, and Maylise, it's so good to see you. Maylise, Leah, and I were actually all in the same mentee cohort, which is funny and like really fun to all be back here together on the call together. So yeah, I was also in the, I think it was C5, the 5th cohort, as a mentee. I was in my 2nd semester of grad school, which is right around when you start having to choose which classes you want to take rather than them telling you which ones you need to take to graduate. And had, previous to grad school, left a job in healthcare with the goal of doing a major career pivot towards clean tech and sustainability or climate or like something related to the environment. And was at this point where I needed somebody to talk to about how to navigate the thousands of options. I have a background as a product manager and have worked in a lot of startups. So it was really a question of getting good guidance from somebody in this industry and in this space about how to explain how those skills were transferable to a new industry, and kind of work with me, like Theo was saying, around uniting personal values with career goals, really work with me hands-on through that as I went through a career transition. So that's kind of what the challenges were that I was facing at the time. My wonderful mentor, Ramsey, was like a little bit different industry than I ended up going into, but it was extremely valuable for me to have that experience. And she knows this space really well, even outside her specific lane, and was able to provide really good guidance as I navigated a whole new world. Over to you, Leah.
So hi, everyone. I'm Leah. As mentioned, I was in the same mentee class as Maylise and Ellie. When I was in the program, I had already been out of grad school for a few years. I was in a job consulting, which sounds really glamorous from the beginning, but then once you're in it, it's much less so. It's hard to articulate those skills into bringing them into a new job. And I was deep in the job hunt search. And when I got paired with my mentor, he gave me some just really astute advice about my career planning. And at that time, I was like, I want to be in VC, I want to be in a corporate sustainability role, or I want to be at a startup. He was like, those are not the same at all. And what are you're spreading yourself too thin. I was like, okay. So he helped me whittle down to not just what I wanted to do, but the type of career that would be best for my personality type and skills. And it was amazing. I did get actually a role as I was in the mentorship program. And so he helped me through also the application process. And then we stayed connected past the official program end, and it was a great person to field my questions with as I was entering a new career.
That's amazing. Yeah, I think that's great advice to focus your search, and it's really nice when someone can kind of give you that outside perspective. When, you know, clean tech is such a diverse field, it's sustainability. And I think just choosing a focus, at least for just now, you can always change in the future. And I think I love how some of the mentors on the call said they also want to be mentees. And I think this constant like experience of reinventing yourself, and especially with this industry, is is very, very important because, of course, it's changing so fast and things are shifting. So it's really cool that I think 2 out of 3 of you got a successful position from this experience. Maybe it was just good timing and probably a lot of effort on your part, but I think that's a good story to bring home for everyone. I would be curious to know, where are you now with your roles, and if there's any different pieces of advice that you got. I know Leah touched a little bit on like honing in your job search, but I'm curious, even from any of the events that we hosted during the program, if there's anything that comes to mind. I think we usually have that negotiations event with Julia, and I think I did a personal visioning and branding session. And I think Cara might have been on the program as well, doing like a polarity in leadership. And I'm curious if there's anything that still comes to mind as something that you refer back to in your work. And if you're still in touch with your mentor.
Yeah, I can start off on this one. I found my way to an organization, Theo, you mentioned in the introduction, called Climate Neutral. I had worked with my mentor on specifically how to be in roles that felt one-to-many. So it felt like consulting was an option for that. You get to work with lots of different clients. Corporate sustainability maybe was that, if it was a big enough company that you had a lot of suppliers that you might influence. My mentor specifically was in VC, which she felt constantly was a one-to-many role and talked my ear off about a lot. But I wasn't drawn to VC and have found my way into this nonprofit, which, to be honest with you, I didn't expect to be working for a nonprofit, but it's very much nonprofit tech startup feel, happens to be a nonprofit. And I get to work with hundreds of companies every year on their climate strategy. Like, it could not be more one-to-many, where I get to really see my impact across all of those companies, working to level up and help scale their climate strategies, which is fantastic. I love my job. But to answer some of your other questions, Theo, I think back all the time to the polarities talk, I'm constantly finding myself in between. So one of the things that we work on a lot in my job is our standard. So what it means for what our standard includes for corporate climate action. And this tension between a standard and something that requires innovation, requires creativity. There's like a ton of tension and polarity between something being standard and the same for every single company, but also like really customized, innovative, new, trying something else, which is super necessary in climate work. So that's one that I think back to all the time. Super appreciative of the mentorship program for having introduced me to that concept, and again, like how to navigate that type of polarity in a workplace. It's been great.
Yeah, I think you mentioned, you didn't expect to be working for a nonprofit, but I've been hearing more and more, something that sticks with me is, in this field is particularly, balancing both the public and private sector and your understanding of those industries, and seeing public sector as kind of more of a risk management. They may be less into innovation, and then looking at the private sector and, their focus on innovation and, profit and that kind of thing. So I think just including both those understandings in your repertoire is so important, especially in this industry. So that's a really cool, I think your job really bridges a lot of different sectors, I would say, because you work a lot with private companies, right?
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
Yep.
I can chime in.
Take it away.
I remember we did a lot of exercises around our personal brand and story, and, kind of starting from the, square one and building that up. And at the time going into it, I was like, I've been in an MBA program. I've done this a million times. I don't need this again. And then I found it incredibly difficult actually to come up with the answers of a lot of those questions, because our story and brand is always evolving and changing. And it was really great to have that intentional time to sit down and work on it, and not just work on it with myself, but, with my mentor and with everybody in the cohort when we were, together in sessions to get that feedback. And then as also as far as like maintaining that relationship with a mentor past the mentorship program, a really tangible example is, we met during the program, we met once a week. After the program, we moved that to once a month, just for a little bit of a more sustainable cadence. Almost a year into my role at my new job, we're a startup, we were growing, expanding. And I'm, as you can see on my job title, I'm business development and partnerships manager. I'm kind of spanning two different roles. And so my boss has asked me, which one do I want to start like gravitating towards? So I want to do more business development or partnerships. And I did not know. Each one has pros and cons. And so I did the whole exercise again with my mentor, and he helped me kind of figure out that path forward internally with my company. What's going to help me succeed now? What sort of tasks in my day-to-day life bring me joy and energy? And then what's going to help me be successful in the future? So eventually I will be transitioning more towards the business development side as we continue to grow and I can offload some other work. So that was another way that my mentor has helped me past just the program.
That's such a good point. I'll just jump in quickly to add that the elevator pitch practice of like getting your personal statement, like, this is who I am, this is what I'm about, which we had a bunch of exercises in the program designed around that. That is why I have this job, because I was able to like really nail it and be so authentic, having gotten, like you said, Leah, good feedback from my mentor, good feedback from the cohort, after everybody had gotten to know me. So I think that was like critical for nailing interviews, and really grateful for it.
Yeah, I think it was really helpful to work on that handbook that's given and that we follow during the program. And I was going to talk about the pitch. Actually, I think it was something that was new to me, to like really create a pitch for an individual and for yourself. And I remember like being on breakout room sessions with a couple other people from the cohort and different mentors, and like really like pitching and refining this. And it's something that is actually like really helpful in many different other things related to communication. And I'm still in contact with my mentor up to today. He's not here tonight, but I was really lucky to be in touch with Esan, and I'm based in Los Angeles. He lives in San Diego, so like every time I go there to see a family member, I make sure that I'm going to meet in person with him and his partner, and having like either like a walk on the beach or a drink, and just being able to reflect on what happened and still like strategize on things that I'm working on today. So for like a few months this year, I had to kind of like take a break from corporate work due to like immigration process. And I started this platform called Pole Dance for the Planet. And so it's really like it's a niche thing, crossing between like my activity in like pole dancing and climate actions and sustainability, and like bring the two together. And it's a large industry with like 5 million pole dancers in the world. And there's like a huge need to green every industry. And this is another industry. Even if it's my hobby, it's like a large driver for business. And as I was like pivoting to this for some time, which is something I will grow over time while having another position soon, he helped me strategize also this, which was like not something that we discussed obviously like 2 years, a year and a half ago, but we like keep having those interesting conversations. And something that's completely different, at the time we started a Slack channel with the cohorts, and it was something also like very fun and useful during the mentorship program, and yeah, able to like get together and meet with more intimate moments, even if it's on Slack. Like we were able to just further those conversations.
Yeah, thank you so much for sharing. I'm a big fan of people merging their personal passions with like their impact on the world. So I congratulate you for starting your organization, and I can't wait to talk to you further about that. And I think something else that you all mentioned was this idea of like cross-pollination, where, you know, you may be focused with one mentor for, you know, the majority. I think it's amazing that you met every week throughout the whole time that you're with Deb, Leah. That's really great. I think it paid off. But then you also have these small group discussions and breakouts that allow you to talk to other professionals and hear other pieces of information, because everyone has their own take. And I think as mentorship evolves, you know, it's not just about one person that you're getting all this advice from, right? I mean, we have these whole networks of like branches of people that we're calling on. And I think just continuing to even if you're a mentee in the program, like you're a mentor to someone else. You know, Leah and Ellie have both been mentors to me in multiple capacities, and I think it's really great to just have like that circular experience within this program. So I've really enjoyed seeing that. And yeah, I'm curious if there's any advice that you would give to anyone looking back on your experience. We're going to start with Melis on this question. Just looking back on your experience, any advice that you would give to someone who wants to join the program? And yeah, take it away.
Yeah, something that was obviously amazing was to be able to connect on such a interesting level with the mentor, but also expanding to meeting the other mentors and mentees in the program. I can remember how many people was that, like maybe 30, 40 people. But it was just like this incredible network at the time to build community and to expand from there, and having planning different virtual coffee chats in early mornings, and starting your day by like meeting someone else from this cohort and getting everyone's experience in the field. That was really cool.
Ellie, do you have any advice that you would give? I know you always have a lot of good value to add.
Thanks, Theo. I'm trying to think. I think the thing that comes to mind for me is that like we totally encourage you to join this program if it sounds right for you, but also there are lots of other ways to find mentorship. And it's so important for us as women to have good mentors and to be good mentors in this space, especially as you mentioned, Theo, like it tends to be male dominated, maybe not so much in corporate sustainability, but certainly in clean tech. It's just so important. So if you have formal or informal ways of getting involved in your community as a mentee or a mentor, like lean into those. They're great experiences. And I think we traditionally think about a mentee-mentor relationship being like the mentee who gets a lot of value out of that interaction. But I think I'm a little bummed we don't have any mentors on the call tonight to tell you their perspective, which is really that like they get so much out of being mentors as well. I think there's just so much in giving back to your community, seeing folks level up and improve and find their way. So that's what came to mind for me.
Yeah, last year we did a event where we brought 4 3 mentors in to chat about what it's like to be a mentor and the skills that you need to do that. And I remember Carrie, actually one of our professors, talking about how she was actually, one of her mentees was actually able to give a job to her husband. So just like crazy connections happen with these relationships, and kind of like magical connections can be developed just even past the like kind of structure. I think the beauty of this program is that it does provide that structured container where you can meet with someone. You know, we provide the structure that allows you to create like a mentor-mentee relationship that is sustainable for the long term. So I think that's one reason to join this program if you need that extra container to support you towards your next, you know, career transition goals or wherever you're going. But yeah, Leah, do you have anything to add?
I think a lot of this pretty much covers it. I made a really big attempt to reach out to as many people in the program as I could, having one-on-one calls with the mentors and mentees. And I've taken a lot of those relationships with me professionally as well. I know one of the other mentors is someone I work with professionally in a partnership setting now. So it was really great to make that connection.
Awesome. That's so great to hear. Is there a certain type of sustainability or clean tech professional that you would recommend to this program? Or Ellie, do you have any thoughts on that?
Who's a good fit for the program? Yeah.
Yeah.
On the mentee side, I think you've heard from us, career folks who are in career transition, folks who are looking for a new job, folks who are trying to level up within their current job. We had a lot of folks in our cohort who were in maybe an entry-level position or a position they weren't super happy with, but they liked the company and they wanted to figure out how to get that next promotion. So if any of those are you, this might be a great fit. I think especially people who are new to clean tech or sustainability, and looking for a very gentle and supportive community to like try that hat on for the first time. This may be that for you. There are a lot of us in those shoes in our cohort. Leah and Maylise, anything else to add to that?
Come one, come all. On the mentor side, there's a lot of male. Like my mentor was a man, and so you know anyone can be a mentor. And knowing from other people that were mentored talking about it, saying like they got a lot out of it, you know, energy wise, but also a way to grow yourself is to listen to others and be able to respond with feedback. It's like, what a fantastic way to grow. And I definitely say that myself as I'm, whenever I'm mentoring anyone else or giving presentations, I'm like, oh, wow, I haven't looked at this from the outside perspective before. And it's really insightful. So, yeah.
And then
if you come from abroad, that's also a great experience to get in the space.
I was just going to add too, from the mentor side, I think we typically look for mentors in the program to have at least 5 years of experience in their field. And then, as Theo said, we try and match you as best we can with somebody who is interested in something similar to you. That's not always possible just based on the folks who apply, but similar to my mentor is kind of in a different vertical than me. But yeah, a couple of years of experience, some time to give each week, and I think real interest in giving back. That's really critical. Is like this, you have to be up for the time commitment and also the growth and learning that comes from being part of this cohort and this program.
Yeah, I think the tidbit of advice, we'll talk about applications, but just being specific about what your goals are going into the program, I think is a good idea, just because that'll help us choose a mentor that's right for you based on your industry or your goals. And yeah, so that is it for my questions tonight. And I'm curious if any of the audience members want to chime in and ask any questions. Feel free to get off mute, and this is your space. Like this was made directly for you. So like anything that you have, any questions, I would love to just open the space up for any questions.
Hey, my name's Diana. Can you guys hear me?
Yes.
Yes. Okay, perfect. I have a quick question. So what if you get like say paired up or matched up to a mentor, and then say like you have a session and realize that maybe they're not exactly what you're looking for perhaps, or they're in a different vertical and you want some specific advice and whatnot. What happens then?
That's a really good question. I think I can give it a thought. Ellie, do you have something off of that?
Yeah, I'd say first, we've never had that happen, which is cool.
Yeah.
And I'd encourage you to really feel like even if the match doesn't seem right off the bat, that we saw something in your applications that made us put you together. So encourage you to like be open and try to learn from that person. But Theo, Melis, Leah,
yeah. Your mentor is going to open their network to you as well. And it's a great way to be connected and like make those connections. So they're going to help you with the program in general, but then they can connect you to someone that is either in your vertical or in the same type of organization that you would like to know more about. And that's helpful as well.
Yeah, I once was in a mentorship program with a mentor that was on a very different path as me, in different life stage, different everything, but I still learned a lot from him. He still really enjoyed working with me and also said that he grew a lot as well from a relationship. And then there's also all the other mentors in the program that you can reach out to and set up your own one-on-ones with them.
Yeah, I'll also add in like this program is very much, you will get out of it what you put into it. So Leah and Melis, you can probably back me up on this, like preparing for those weekly meetings with your mentor takes some time. Like I put real time into thinking critically and thoughtfully about what I wanted to talk with my mentor about each week, and she had plenty to share too, but I really got to shape and direct where those conversations went, and she was a sounding board. So think about that too, like other questions you could be asking or other things that you could focus on.
That's great. We have some questions in the chat that Raphael has so wonderfully summed up for me. Quick questions, and then we can continue on. So are the events in person or virtual? At this point, they are all going to be virtual for the C7 cohort. If we do have some interest, we will be looking at some more in-person events just because they're just the best. You can't compare. And then our mentors, members of Women in Cleantech and Sustainability, are outside the group. We're going to talk directly about membership because I think that's a really important part, which we can move forward with. And then question from Sabrina, what is the weekly time commitment for each mentor or mentee? Leah, do you want to chat to that a little bit?
Yeah, well, so you do attend on a monthly basis, I think 3 times, right? Your whole cohort events, and that's about 2 hours. And then as far as how you meet with your mentor, that's kind of something for you to set up. We met on a weekly basis. I know in other programs I've done once a month, but I would say the weekly basis was fantastic, or is like a frequency that you can manage, because it makes it really intensive, really impactful. And I think as a mentee or a mentor, ask for what you need. That's, I guess, actually my biggest advice is just ask for what you need.
Ooh, I love that. Yeah, don't be afraid to set the expectations early and often. I think we're going to try to cover that more in our kickoff session. Just what's the groundwork you can lay to just have like a healthy, fruitful relationship. And yeah, that's great. I think also understanding something that came up to me is with Diana's question is understanding the limitations of your mentor too, and like capitalizing on their strengths, because every person is so unique and we all have strengths and weaknesses. So I think just understanding that this person may not satisfy every single thing that you want to learn in the Cleantech space, but they may be a door opener for you to learn more. We got Jesse in the chat. Can you all speak to the application process? Yeah, I think this is a good point to move forward, looking at the time. So you can go to the next slide. So why don't let's do the brainstorm activity last, I think, and go straight to applications. So we are now accepting applications. We have finally launched our application process. Thank you for everyone who's made that possible. Raphael's going to drop the link in the chat, and I think there were some questions about, if you can be a mentor and a mentee. You're going to have access to all of the events as a mentor. So if you still want to learn, we're all continuing to learn. You can still be a mentor with your mentee, but you can still be actively participating in the events and learning. Applications close November 30th, right after Thanksgiving, and we will then be sitting down and doing the matching. So the more you can be detailed in your application, but also succinct so we can get through it, is going to help us with that process. And we're really looking forward to it. And let's go on to the question about membership. So you can apply to this program without a chapter membership, without a membership with WCS. But we do require that if you do get accepted into the program, that you do sign up to be a member. And that's primarily going to be a chapter membership if you're local to the Bay Area, but I think that can also potentially be a virtual membership as well. If you are, international, you're not going to be making any in-person events, and it's a little bit of a discount. We do have a student discount of 30%, and you can also get 50% off WCS Talks, which was amazing this year and was so great to connect with everyone in person. Any questions on that?
I'll just jump in and add that the chapter membership is required for mentees. For mentors, you're not required to be a member, and we actually give you as a bonus or a thank you access to the executive leadership workshops for the next year, throughout 2023. So that's a little bit of a difference between the mentees and the mentors as well.
Cool. And then I really want to take some time for our last activity, which is something I've been looking forward to for a while. So if you can go back to the slide, we have this activity to basically offer you all a chance. If you are interested in this program, we really would love to hear your insights on what tools and workshops would be most helpful for you in your job searching process, your career transition, whatever it is. We've had events about negotiations, polarity in leadership, like I talked about. We're looking at if there's any other nuts and bolts skills that you want to learn. Maybe that's resume building, job interviews, whatever it is that is really top of mind for you, maybe a huge pain point in this process. We want to know about it so that we can add it. So I'm just gonna set a little bit of a timer here, so people can just take about a minute to just chat in their brainstorming ideas, what they might want to add to the program, this upcoming cohort, and then we'll reconvene. setting my timer.
And as you all are adding your +1s or additional ideas, please feel free to add additional ideas. That's the whole goal here, to make sure if we haven't captured something that we're considering how to include that in the program this year. If you'd like to come off mute and share a little bit more about why you're voting for that or what you mean by that, what you'd like to see, we're all ears.
I love the point about knowledge sessions in the particular industry of focus. So if there is a particular, I know there's manufacturing, energy, if there's any others that you really want to learn about that you're particularly interested in, let us know. All right, so my timer is complete. I think we have one more question. If you scroll down a little bit, we have one more question that is all about any speakers that you either have that you recommend or you've seen in the past that you think might be a really good addition to this program. We're looking to expand, make sure that we're covering our bases in terms of like the latest and most up-to-date information in the clean tech space, as well as just career advice coaching. So feel free to add any speakers that you think of. And we can also send this out as an email afterwards if you have any additional thoughts after the event. Cool. I don't have any groovy music for that section, but that was my one slip up. But I hope you enjoyed that brainstorming session, and I will send that out as a follow-up if you do have any other ideas as you kind of think about this more and fill out your application. Over to you, Ellie.
All right. Thank you, Theo, for leading us through the panel discussion and the brainstorming. You'll have the link. Feel free to keep adding to that for as long as you like and as long as ideas are coming to you, especially around any speaker ideas. We love bringing new ideas and perspectives into this program. So this is the whole point of having a great network, is your network gives you access to lots of other ideas and people and folks. All right. Stepping back a little bit from the mentorship program to WCS as a whole, we have lots of great events coming up, and WCS is very excited to be expanding to Europe. So if any of you are in these cities, Delft in the Netherlands, Paris, and Brussels in the next couple of weeks, please keep an eye out. We would absolutely love to see you at some of our first European events. We're very, very excited to be across the Atlantic for the first time. You can learn more about all of these events, agriculture and innovation, ESG reporting. We have a book club through our LA chapter, and I think we'll be doing a fun holiday event mid-December. So you can check these out on our website. That's also the best place to sign up and register. And as a reminder, virtual and chapter members also do get discounts on these events. So take a look at that as well. We are running a program right now to refer a friend to become a member. New members will get 10% off, and current members will put your name in a raffle for each person you refer. So there's a code there you can copy down if you're interested in that. And then another plug for the virtual membership. Before we wrap up, another enormous thank you to our volunteers today. Theo, fantastic job leading this event and getting it organized. Anka, Raphael, thank you so much for helping to put it together. You both are wonderful. WCS functions entirely on volunteers. So if you're interested in getting involved with this organization, we're also always looking for new volunteers. I believe Kirpa is on the call as well, and she's the one to reach out to. I think you can do that through our website too. Put your name in if you're interested in learning about volunteering. So thank you to our volunteers. All right. Last but not least, connect with us on the old internet, and we hope you will apply for this year's mentorship program. We hope to see lots of your names in the applications. Thanks so much for being here. All right. I'm happy to stay on for another few minutes if there are any final questions, but yeah, thanks so much everyone for joining.